Okay, folks, so we've broken the flag down to individual stripes. This is what a stripe looks like. This is what the carve on one of my stripes looks like. It's a little bit that we didn't finish right here, but I usually save the edges for after I'm done. I do a little bit of carving afterwards, a little bit of shaping. Once I know where my color's applied, I come back in, clean up some edges, and it's okay to carve into color as long as it's already down and you're happy with it. I generally don't paint the insides unless it's a beveled edge or stain them, either way. But that's what a stripe looks like. We're going to be taking a look at the inside the chocolate factory, if you can relate to that. So we have our continuous mist spray bottle, and I have some distilled water in there. We're going to be using the synthetic round tip. This is another Dixie Belle brush, another great brush. Came completely clean after red and black use. The white, of course, it's a white tip brush. It's hard to tell, but I imagine that white came right out of there as well. Brush came back into shape after cleaning. Just another great product right there. We're going to start with the Barn Red Chalk Mineral Paint. I've already shaken this up. Make sure you shake up your paints very well. I notice there is a little bit of separation, and keep your jars sealed as long as you can, okay? Get this ready. I have a couple rags here with me just to keep everything clean as we go. I do work with wood, and sawdust is not your friend. Put this up, get our brush ready. We're going to use the continuous mist on the brush. And then I keep a clean rag just for a little bit of cleanup around the edges. You don't want any drips onto your product. And then I keep a rag that I can dirty just for blotting. As you put the paint on and switch back and forth, you want to blot it out so you don't get runs and streaks, okay? So what we're going to do, get a little bit of that Barn Red, and we're almost going to kind of get it to the point where it's dry brushing. And we're going to just blot some of that down the center. Using the side of the round tip brush, I'm going to kind of flare out the end there. Just two directions, kind of making a Y shape. And then coming back down the center. Just to concentrate that bright red. And then with the tip, I'm going to kind of spread. I twist as I'm applying. Just give it a little twist. Doesn't matter which way you hold the brush, which direction. I go back and forth. I go one direction sometimes. Just depends on the shape of the wood for me. And then we're just going to circular blend. If your paint dries, get your continuous mist, squeeze. You can pump this bottle up. You can get a lot of volume of the water if you need. Because I'm working with such a small surface, I don't want to get it too wet. Do a little bit of edging here, and I'm just pulling the brush over the edge of the stripe. Do a little back and forth, kind of blend it out. Pick up a little more paint here. It doesn't matter in my case and my style of painting. Now, if you're restoring furniture or anything like that, you're going to want that ombre blend to be even throughout the project. You want to keep general shape to your ombre blend. Here, this is art. We're just being a little creative with a traditional flag. So it doesn't have to be completely even, doesn't have to be geometrically proportionate or anything like that. We're actually kind of just making a mess. But in the end, once all that shading comes together, we do a little dry brushing after the color has settled. It makes for a beautiful piece. Trying to stay in the center, blending it out. Pick up a little more paint here. Come down the center. Use the side of the brush. Get into those waves. I keep the dips of my waves rather dark usually. It gives you more of a 3D effect, in my opinion. And why shape out that flare? Give our flag a little bit of motion, a little bit of light. Remember, when working with paints and stains and any type of colorization, you're not just working with what they call color, but you're bringing light into the project. In my work, light and the effect of light onto the colors is very important to me. Again, we're going to come over the edge and pull some of this beautiful barn red down. And as you can see, as the paint dries, we're starting to see that beautiful fade of the red into the black. And once the flag is reassembled, that red and black is going to give us an undulating, that's a hard word to say, undulating motion. You want your flag to ripple, not only in the waves, but also in the back and forth. This is, this flag has been with me for many years. I use this flag as a template for the shapes of my flags. I fold it, bend it, however my waves are going to go. I use it to copy the contours, so I know proportionately where the stripes should be in their bend and stuff like that. As you can see, every stripe has shape to it. So, therefore, every stripe in your flag should have shape to it. And those shapes are where we catch the light, where we catch our highs and lows, where we highlight the inside, the outside of the wave. The crown of the wave should always be your brightest point. You're creating those peaks and valleys, and we're just blending away. You can do a circular motion, you can do a back and forth motion. It just depends on how much material you have to work with. I'm sure if I made a bigger flag, I could swirl away, which to me gives you the best blend, is when you can make that swirling motion. Just a little back and forth, pulling that red color over the edges so we know that it truly is a red stripe. We start to dry, we pump up our continuous spray brush, get it down in there a little bit. Get that important blotter rag. Keep your edges clean. You don't want your paint spreading onto your hands. Blot a little bit of that color off and get back to work. Brush is a little too wet. It's not a problem. Just get it in there, give it a little squeeze. Don't pull on the bristles. You can see that I'm pulling it through the rag, but I'm not pulling on the bristles. You don't want to pull the bristles out of your brush. Swirling action going. We're going to bring some more red back into that. One thing I do like about the Dixie Belle product is the layering effects. You can layer this stuff. You just have to be careful not to pull paint from your project. As you can see there, you can see it pulls that paint. Again, you can layer back on, everything will be fine. You can even come back in with your caviar again, if needed. On the test piece, I did a couple areas where I came back in with the caviar, and the bright black contrast onto some of the sides was absolutely gorgeous. Here I'm pulling, but I'm not touching that valley. I'm just pulling some of this color down to the crown. Here I'm in the valley. I'm pulling some of our red down and cresting the crown, leaving the dark black on the outside. I'm going to do the same here, and it gives us that red streaked effect. Flip this stripe back over. We're working back and forth, giving the material time to dry in some sections, because the product does move differently depending on the time that it is dried. Again, this is a new product for me. I'm still learning the nuances of it, but again, it's a very easy product to work with. If you make a mistake, that's fine. We all know a famous painter that called them happy accidents. And sometimes those accidents are more of an on purpose than an accident. The project was telling you it wanted to be that way. And that's fine. Don't be a copy machine. Be an artist. Be original. Bring some red back into our crowns. That nice little swirl in there. And then draw some back towards the valley. Don't touch the valley. Crest to crest. Just bringing that color in there. Get those centers. Again, same with here. crest to crest, staying out of the valley. Let the brush just flow and let the gap not get hit. And then pull those paints back and forth. Not sure if y'all can hear the neighborhood in the background, but we got a birthday party down the street. I love coloring the ends or the tips of each stripe. If you leave them dark, your stripe kind of gets lost in translation. It's almost as if the color is falling off the edge. Don't want to do that. You want it to be pronounced. I'm going to pick up just a little bit more paint, not too much. And I'm working with the opposite side of the brush that I picked the paint up on. That way I can control how much is being pushed into the piece. You lay it all down at once, you get that effect. It's going to get shiny red on you. It's a beautiful red. But again, we're working with a blend here. Like I said, almost an ombre blend. Not a true ombre, but that's the closest thing I can think of to describe it. And we're going to pull some of that strong side of the color back down over the edges. We're going to just touch the insides of the valleys with it to let you know what color is in the middle of that shading. And then the over the edge, I always do pretty dark. That way, if you're looking at a side of the flag, you know the individual stripe colors, red, white, and blue. When we get to the canton is your union before the stars. That will have the blue edge to it. And all flags are proportionate. There is a flag calculator available on the internet that'll give you the dimensions your flag needs to be. Please honor the flag in its true form, truest form. But again, we're not making a replica here, so it doesn't have to be exact. Your colors don't have to be exact to what you find in the flag code. This is art, not replication. You do you. You make what you feel is right. I've done flags of many different colors. I recently did a purple flag for epilepsy. I've done flags for different tributes. I've done flags to match home decor. In any form of art, do what the mind sees. That's how we push the envelope. This one is just about done. I'm going to get some streaks. I do like some solid portions in the middle because we do have to stay true to the concept. I personally don't want the flag to disappear. Need to understand what we're making. And there we go. That is our first red stripe. I'm going to let that dry. I'll double check it before I decide that it's ready for assembly. But with every one, I do the same process. Paint it, let it sit. I look at my projects over and over. To me, they're never right. I don't want anyone to see my art. That's just the way I am. But when the piece is complete and I feel that people are ready to see it, it's because I'm comfortable in what I've created. And you should do the same. Make what you feel comfortable creating. I know here I'm going to come in and fix this little bit of streak once it dries. Blend it down, center it out. Probably come in with some of the caviar on the sides there. And again, if you come in with that caviar, use the side of the round brush or a smaller brush if you have available. It really does make that red pop. And then when this red is laying up against a white stripe, you're going to see that contrast. The black is going to get dark, the red is going to get bright, and of course, our cotton is going to be really bright. This is a super white. I really am excited to use this. So there you go. There's our first stripe. We're going to let this dry. I'm going to work on the next 2 red stripes. So the way I do it is I start off with the bottom 6 because they're one solid color from side to side. Makes it easy to work with. The next set, we're going to be moving on to the cotton color. And then we work on the top 7 from there because we have a breakup for the Canton, which is the union before the stars are applied, solid blue, and then we work the red and white down the 7 on the right-hand side of the flag. This portion here, I'm building a 36-inch flag, so we're 14.5 by 10 on the union side. I'll mark that off. We'll paint that separately. Once all this is dried, we can tape it. We don't have to worry about any peeling. So if you're working with stencils and Dixie Belle product, so far they've been great for me. Even the patina paint pulled beautifully on the star stencils. I'll insert a picture of that patina flag into this video at some point, and you can see the stars came out crisp. The paint, it self-levels itself, so you can use tape, you can use stencils. It's, again, we're working with a great product here, folks. And great products give you great results. So, there's that. Give me just a little bit. I'm going to continue these red stripes, and then we'll be back, and I'll show you the white.